Let's get this show on the road. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to Season 6 of the VML. Massive welcome from myself and Caroline. We're the co-chairs of the VML, and of course from the rest of the team. Today's town hall is going to be a kind of an overview of all of the areas of the VML, how to play the league, and the such. And we have got quite a lot of stuff to get through. So, but I just wanted to get started and say, first of all, thank you for joining the VML. This is a project that we collectively, everybody on the team, puts a lot of work into, most of which is not paid for. And we really believe in the VML as a project. We believe deeply that competitive play should be more reflective of Magic's actual player base. And we'd like to thank you all for participating and for making a difference in Magic. Connected to that, we have not, we view this space as somewhere that we hope you can feel welcome and supported. We hope that you will all be welcoming and supportive of each other. If anybody has any incidents or any problems that arise, please speak up immediately. Please message myself or Caroline. And this is particularly true of anybody from outside of the VML. So we have not had very many incidents of, should we say, controversy in the community yet, but we are always a little bit worried, of course, that might be the case. If you receive any negative interactions whatsoever, please let us know immediately where that's coming from, and we will help you. We will support you as much as we can, because we don't want anybody to go through anything negative as a result of playing the VML. It's sad that we have to say that, but we say it every season, and then nothing really ever happens every season. So fingers crossed, of course, for this one as well. Okay, well, I am going to hand over to a virtual Caroline to talk about the...
Oh no, I have to listen. This was
the prizes, which I realize now, Caroline, it's not even the video I had frozen on the screen for the whole time.
Thanks, I hate it.
Okay, so...
It's blurry, I just want to let you know.
I know. I'm just going to stop playing it right now.
Oh, this is our prizes.
Okay, so I'm going to turn my stream volume up. If anybody cannot hear the stream, you need to go into my stream, view the stream, and turn stream volume on/up. So I'm going to play it now.
Okie dokie. So this is our prizes. I'm just going to use our rules tab over here. So we have a couple different prizes going on, and it's a little complicated. So I want to do my best to kind of tell what everyone is playing for. So our first 7 weeks of play will be round robin. And at the end of that, after you've played everyone in your pod, you will have the top 2 players from that will go into our playoff. And then we will have 8 additional spots that we call wildcard slots. So when we shake it all out, the leader from each division will go to the top 16, and the second place person from each division and the 8 wildcards will play 1 additional match in the top 24. This matters because, as you can see here, the prizes pay out from top 16 and above. So making playoffs is great, but only top 16 and above get cash prizes. And then after the top 16, the top 8 unlock some more additional prizes, which include 2 different things. Include a CFB Pro subscription, so the 2nd through 8th gets 1 month of CFB Pro, and then all players 7th through 8th also get invited to an arena qualifier weekend, similar to the one that's happening this weekend. I cannot tell you at all when it will be. That's not scheduled, but it will happen, whatever the immediate one is after we resolve our event. And then, of course, first place unlocks, one additional prize. They get a year of CFP Pro, which is pretty cool, and then they get an invite to what we're calling a Magic Championship level event in 2022. Very similar to previous seasons, which have been invited to the set championships. However, we don't know the future of Magic, but they will guarantee that there will be an invite to one of those level of events. Cash prizes break down from $875 for first, $525 for second, $350 for third and fourth, $175 for fifth through eighth, and $87.50 for 9th through 16th. So this is pretty cool. That's for the, literally for months from now, because we're taking a break over Christmas. But one thing that is new and we did want to highlight is one of our challenges in a league where we ask people to play every week, regardless of your record, is encouraging people that don't have a great record to keep playing. We understand if you don't want to, that's totally fine, but we've been looking and digging ways to incentivize people to keep playing in our awesome environment and keep hanging out. And one of the ways we've done that this season is every player will receive 500 arena gems per match win in division play. So if you finished the season at 4-3, 4 match wins, 3 match losses, you will get, I had to do math. You have to get 2,000 arena gems. You will only be awarded these gems on the 7th week at the end of the division play. Yes, it's because we want you to keep playing. It's also because it's going to be kind of a lot of work to figure out who gets what gems, and then we have to get all the codes together. So we're going to deal with that literally at Christmas time. But this is new, so if you've played before and you're mostly tuning me out, I hope you're listening, because Arena Gems can go a long way, especially when we're asking you to play Standard on Arena for the next, 10 weeks or whatever. So, yeah.
All right. Is there anything you wanted to add, Carolyn? She still has her headphones out. Okay.
Oh, no, I came back. I came back.
Okay, good.
Wait, now this is a bad pause as well. Okay, that video seemed like it was way longer than I remember recording it. Any questions, I guess, while we're here about the gems? While you're setting up the next thing? Go with no.
I guess the one thing to mention is the pass down.
Oh yeah, so it says on the screen, but I forgot to say, the invite does pass down. Should that come up?
Okay.
Are you going to play this next one?
Yeah.
This one's longer. This one's 7 minutes.
Is playing for top 8 single elimination or double? It is single elimination all the way.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Oh, by the way, I was going to say about the questions. I will, of course, for the recording, try and read out the question and then answer it. If I don't get to your question, I'll make sure at the end that I've gone through everybody's questions. So if I don't get to it as we go,
mark them. I can mark the ones you've done with thumbs up.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then we have the next part is going to be a video about how to use the awesome brand new website, VMLMTG.com. So everybody, including people who've played before, I would really suggest paying attention during this part, because this is how you'll be actually playing this season.
Here we go. So this is our website. It's very pretty. VMLMTG.com. That's actually going to be everything across the universe of the internet. So that's pretty cool. The main thing to look out here, this was a main splash page that we already had. So some information, if you didn't know about it, you should read it. But some of the new parts are our season 6 page. If you've played with us before, you'll see and appreciate the changes to this page. Keep in mind, we are still working out some bugs. So right now, the tables don't quite land where they're supposed to, but we're working it out. The biggest thing that you should know about these is each divisional tab has 2 options, either a schedule which is actually what's defaulted, even though it lies to you. And then standings, which will be not relevant for a little while. But more importantly, check out our cute werewolf, vampires, and Twitter sections. So you'll notice here it says it's on standings. It's not, so bear with us. We are working through that. But each division can be handled separately, so you could be checking out a schedule for one division, standings for the other divisions. Pretty cool. You can also, of course, look at all of the weeks for your scheduling, which is super cool. So you'll know who you're playing when. You can also, when we're in the future, you can go back in the past and say, okay, who played back then? You get to see, you will get to see their deck once it's submitted. So if we're in week 6, you can go back to week 1 and check out what Sophie played, and it will have a link to that. And that's something that existed, but it's not as easy as to do as it is on this page. So there's our 8 divisions. The other thing I wanted to, good thing I didn't show you my password. Wanted to log in and show you your user page. So this is mine. I have not done anything to it, so this is a good time to look at it. The biggest things here are anything that you submitted in the survey has been entered in by Ryan. But if you need to edit it, I think you can just go, there we go. You just go ahead and, can I change it? Yeah. So I could go ahead and do that. I did not. Same goes for, if you change your Discord or something, those can be edited. And then Twitter, I have a Twitter name. So I can go ahead and you can add that to that. And then, so this Twitter is actually kind of interesting. One of the things we've been working on is trying to allow for outsiders to see our stuff without giving away information. So Twitter is something you can choose. If you click the public checkmark, which I just did, I believe, let's go back and find out. If we go to my division, which I think is 4, 3, 2. Well, these are in weird. Oh, my division's at the top. I think this is supposed to show my, here, maybe it's on this one. There we go. So now my Twitter shows up because I turned it on. It is defaulted to not show up and is defaulted to not have a Twitter. So that's fine, but it's, just letting you know what that public means. Not sure why it's unchecked now, but later problems. So this is the cool, so the top is all this information that you submitted on the survey, as I said, and then this is the cool page where it's just your division. So this is on my page, Division 4. It has my full schedule. This week 3 has an extra symbol that's telling us that is the week that Crimson Vow is legal for your decklist submission. Pretty cool. And then you actually submit your deck from this page right here. So I'm playing against Westphal Abbey. So I would hit submit deck, and I need to get a URL. So to do that, I go over to MTG Goldfish. I go decks, create a deck, click that. I've already done it. We ask that you name your deck list to be somewhat real. The main ways to name a deck list are just the colors and a main card that the archetype or card that the deck is doing. So green white aggro is acceptable, and this was already named. I'm going to be honest, I don't know why it's called Magecraft, but here we are. That's what it's called. And you would go ahead and name it that way, and then hit standard. And then I usually just copy paste from a text file, which I've done from this, and then it's going to ask that you are not a robot, which I'm not. There are no tractors. Oh, but there are traffic lights. Wow, I already did this. I'm kind of annoyed I had to redo it. And then you hit update preview. Should be done. And then when you're ready to submit, so it would kind of generate all this. I just realized this list only has 67 cards, but we're submitting it anyway. We're going to save. And it's going to bring us to a new page. And this is the page that gives you the link to submit. So at the top here, my deck list is illegal, so I hope I do not submit this. And you would go ahead and paste that deck list into this submission window, press submit. Should I want to go and add some, 3 cards to my deck list so I do not submit an illegal deck, I would go ahead, do that whole process again, copy the new link, and I can just click this button again. I can submit a new link. It actually shows me this is crazy. I didn't even know this. It just shows me the history of how many times I've submitted, which, wow, that's pretty cool. And then as long as all of this happened before midnight Sunday, Pacific time, so 11:59 p.m. Pacific Sunday, then it's totally fine. The system will just take your latest deck list. If one of these deck lists was after midnight, then you are SOL and you have to use whatever was submitted on time or your previous week's list. If you ever have questions about that, a judge will be the one to tell you. I have a list of things to tell you guys. Let's see how close I got. So the match result, so I'm going to just show you, I'm going to show you this page. So the match result is exactly the same. Let me just go back. So when you are, once deck lists are pushed out to the wild on Monday morning, this button will now no longer say submit deck. It will say match result. You would go ahead, once you've played your match, you would click that, and kind of the rest is, you know, exactly as it says here. If you submit anything that is outside of these results, a judge will just reach out to you and say, hey, what's up? What happened? It looks like here Ryan's suggesting that you send bug reports to Ryan, and that there are some downtimes listed here. So I'll let you read those. Other than that, I definitely want to just shout out Ryan for doing such a cool job and really spend the time to dig into our cool website. Of course, the rules are on here with a nice schedule. The mentorship program information is on here as well. And yeah, enjoy.
Okay.
Wow, that person talked forever. Holy moly.
That was very good. You went through all the features. Good job, Caroline.
Thanks, friend.
Basically, the entire point of this meeting is for Caroline and I to praise each other and ourselves.
Yes, we really definitely do.
Yeah. So the way that each week works is that when you submit a deck list, it's not published, but on Monday morning, the judge or admin, but it will be the judge, it will be Max, he will actually press publish, and all the deck lists will be published at the same time on Monday morning. So it will not, you can submit as many times as you like and nobody will see it until each week is published on the Monday morning. And as soon as you have published, as soon as the week is published, you will then be able to submit the next week's, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But I believe that's how it works. Julie, the website does look great. I'm super excited that we have automated a lot of those processes that were extremely time consuming for admins before, and gotten to a place where we're able to live in the modern age with the website. Okay, so what's next? Oh, it's me. Okay.
It's all you.
It's all me. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the next part, I am going to talk about the mentorship program. So first of all, I wanted to thank everybody who's signed up for the mentorship program. I've been really pleased with the number of people with the uptake. And incredibly, I think we have exactly the same number of people who have signed up to be mentors and mentees at this point in time, which is insane. And I love that. So what's going to happen right now is that once all of the player surveys are in, I think we're still missing like 3 to 4. So I'm hoping that we'll get this done by tomorrow evening, but if not by Sunday, because I'm casting a tournament tomorrow, so I probably won't be able to do it tomorrow anyway. But I will be going through all of the responses to the questions on the mentor and mentee uptake form and matching people up. I will not match people in the same division because obviously conflicts. But what we will be doing, actually, if I just share, maybe I should just share screen of the mentorship program. So let's just change windows. Okay, So essentially, what we're asking for the mentors and well, I'll be DMing everybody who their mentor / mentee is, and we're not asking you to commit like a super long amount of time, but we're asking you to commit an hour or so a week to talking, either text communicating or calling if you would like, with each other, just to discuss whatever it is that the mentee feels like they need help with that week. So basically those aspects that we asked you about on the spreadsheet are on the survey are the aspects that we would expect most people to want to talk about. So choosing a deck for the next week, choosing what cards are going in that deck, tuning it. Maybe you're going to pre-board against a specific strategy or whatever it is that you think you might want to do. Preparing for a specific matchup. So if you have, of course, what matchup you're going to be getting this week. So just preparing for that, improving gameplay, and then finding connections is like, making friends, and also maybe you need to test for another event that you have coming up. Is there someone that your mentor knows that can help you test for that, etc., etc. Maybe you're going to MTG Vegas, and is there anybody else who is going who may want to do a VML meetup or may not want to do a VML meetup? But just an example of something you could discuss. Not a loaded question at all, but obviously this is the first season we've had the mentorship program, so we're trying to work it out as we go along. At the end, somewhere in the middle of division play, like around week 3 or 4, we'll be getting in contact with everybody just to check, how it's all going, whether you're getting what you were hoping to get out of the program. And we'll also be checking in at the end of the season and the end of season survey as well. But we're not going to be like checking up every single week on whether everybody has met up and done their time, because we just don't have that. We just don't have the admin capacity to do that. So we're really kind of relying on all of you to kind of run this yourselves in between the pair of you. If there are any issues, of course, just reach out to Aria or myself. We are jointly in charge of the mentorship program. And yeah, we've provided some channels in the Discord under the mentorship program section to chat or to use the voice call rooms as like calling, like phone call rooms or play testing rooms or whatever you want to do in there. Not that sounded wrong. Whatever you want to do in there related to the mentorship program, we will welcome. So yeah, if there are any questions about it, please let me know. But I will be hopefully getting the mentor pairings out on Sunday, and the the mentorship program is going to end at the end of division play, because obviously if both of you in a mentorship pairing reach the playoffs, there's going to be a conflict of interest. So we obviously, you're welcome to stay friends and talk to each other, but that is the end of division play is when the program is going to formally end for this season. You like to talk to your mentor about how to tame werewolves? I mean, it's apparently a topic that's fraught with controversy, which I was not expecting when I set those questions. Okay, so that is the mentorship program. And then finally, we just have a video from our head judge, Max Khan, who is lovely and comes over from NRG, who are our WPN store partner. So I'm going to go back over to VML, VLC even. Imagine if VLC was just called VML. That would be great. Okay. And yeah, I'll hand over to Judge Max, who is on a work trip, or he would be here instead.
Hey everyone, welcome to Season 6 of the VML. My name is Max Kahn. I use he, him pronouns, and I am proud to be the head judge for this season. For those of you that are returning to the VML, welcome back. I'm excited to be here for my third season. For those of you that are new to the VML, welcome. I'll be looking forward to sharing some rules and regulations for you all. Before we get started, I want to let you know that if you need me for any questions or if there's something that you don't think is covered in these rules, feel free to reach out to me on Discord and I'll be sure to help you out with anything. All right, let's get into it. I want to make this quick. Eligibility. By the way, I'm not going to read these rules verbatim. They are available here, vmlmtg.com/rules, if you'd like to read them at any time. Eligibility, you all, when you signed up for MTG Melee, check that box so you're good. Let's talk about the league structure. So this is very, very minor change from last season's if you played with us before, but for those of you that are new, I'll go over it real quick. You're in 8-player pods, so you'll play 7 round robin, 1 match against every player in your pod, and you'll have a record at the end of that pod, whether it's 4-3 or 5-2 or whatever, and that'll determine whether or not you make the playoffs. We'll talk about the playoffs a little bit later. For the purposes of this league, all times are in U.S. Pacific time. So every time you see down here on the schedule is in Pacific. This is a change from previous seasons. We used to be in Mountain time. We're in Pacific time now, which is 1 hour later. So please keep that in mind in terms of decklist submission deadlines and everything like that. So a week starts on Monday, and it will end the following Sunday. So the first thing that happens in a week is you submit your deck lists. For this season, the first deck lists are due Sunday, October 31st at midnight Pacific. For the week starting on November 1st. So on November 1st, right around noon, we'll publish the deck list. The week will begin. You'll get into contact with your opponent and schedule a match time. We're all about flexibility here, so feel free to schedule that match time for whenever you and your opponent are both free, anytime until the deadline, which is noon on Sunday, noon Pacific Sunday. So anytime in those 6.5 days, you can schedule your match, and then play them whenever you'd like. In case you and your opponent can't come to an agreement about a certain match time, there is a default match time. That match time this season is noon on Saturday. So 1 day before the end of the week, noon on Saturday is the default match time. By the end of the week on Sunday, please submit your match results, and then the week will start over again. So that Sunday, you'll submit a deck list for the following week. Deck list submission is optional, so you don't have to submit a deck list for the new week. If you don't submit a deck list for week 2, let's say, we'll just use your week 1 deck list. But obviously week 1 deck list submissions are not optional. Also, in case your deck becomes illegal, let's say there's a ban or something, you will have to submit a new deck list. Otherwise, penalties will apply as though you were playing in a normal competitive tournament. These weeks will last for 7 weeks, all the way until the holiday break. This year, before the playoffs, we're going to have a holiday break for the holidays and for New Year's, give you some time to relax and recharge and get ready for the playoffs. So keep that in mind. After week 7, we're going to take a 2-week break before starting up the playoff rounds. Speaking of the playoff rounds, let's talk about those. So at the end of the season, the top 2 players from each division will advance to the single elimination playoff. So if you win your division, if you come in first place, you'll be the highest seeds, the 1st through 8th. And then if you come in second place in your division, you'll be 9th through 16th. In case you don't come in the top 2, you're not completely out of the playoffs. There'll be some wild cards, which are completely independent of which division you played in. Those will be seeded 17th through 24th. So in the first round of the playoffs, the 17 through 24 will play against the 9 through 16, and those 1 through 8 players, the division winners, get a bye. Then we'll move into the round of 16, where the winners of the first match play against your bye players. And then from there, it advances like a normal single elimination 16-player bracket over the course of 3 weeks. So those first 3 matches will be played week by week by week, and then we'll play the top 4 live on the Twitch stream. That is on Friday, January 21st. We'll play the top 4 live on twitch.tv/VMLMTG. This is a change from previous season. Previously, it was only the live finals. Now we'll be playing the live semifinals and the finals. So that's very, very exciting as well. I'm not going to read through all these here. Again, you can look at the website right here, vmlmtg.com/rules. But I'm going to touch on just a few points here. We're going to be playing Standard. Starting in week number 3, there is going to be a new set in Innistrad Crimson Vow. I believe spoilers started yesterday, and they look cool so far. So remember, for week 3, you can start submitting those cards. Halfway through week 2, the cards become legal. But because they won't be legal by the deadline for week 2, they're not going to be legal in week 2. They will become legal where you can start submitting a deck with those cards starting for week number 3. Also want to talk about tournament rules enforcement. So we're going to be running this tournament in accordance with these documents, the digital MTR and the digital IPG, which are specific documents for competitive online Magic tournaments, similar to the ones you'd find for paper tournaments. But because, our structure is a little bit different, we're running round robin. If there's anything in these rules that is a conflict, we're going to use our VML rules over these rules here. But they're definitely worth reading up on if you're interested. We are playing for quite a bit of cash. There's $3,500 in prize pool, another $1,000 worth of gems, something like that. So, we are going to be running this, a pretty tight ship, so keep that in mind. The other thing that comes up often is what to do if your opponent doesn't show up for a match. The first thing you should do is you should come to this website and reread these instructions because they're very, very important so that we make sure that everything is documented and we can get it resolved timely. So step number 1 is to send a message to your opponent and say, hey, just want to make sure we still have a match going on. Step number 2 is to message me on Discord. My Discord is right here, Max Plays MTG number 1439, and tell me that your opponent hasn't shown up for their match. It's super helpful for me if you include a screenshot, of just the messaging between you and your opponent that says, yep, we're going to meet at 6 p.m. on Friday. That's really helpful for me so that I can make sure that, you're saying that they're late so that I can confirm that they are actually late. If it's more than 30 minutes since the default match time, that player will forfeit the match. That forfeit applies whether or not I've, replied to you. This is really important because I know we have players all over, the U.S. and North America, but also in Europe and in Asia. So I can't be awake the entire time. So even if I don't get back to you, the 30-minute forfeit still applies. So keep that in mind. I will do my best to try to get in contact with your opponent, but if I'm not online, I'm not online. Other than that, you should also message me if you have any technical issues in your match. So if there's a bug or if you get disconnected during a match in between games or something, please let me know and make me aware of that as soon as possible so I can try to issue a fix. I'll do my best at, replying immediately and solving it in-game. If we need to pause the match and, we'll talk about what that entails for the tournament or anything like that. We will use video evidence and screenshots, so record your match if possible or take screenshots of any bugs you see. That'll really help us in fixing the problem. Other than that, there's tiebreaker stuff in here. We're going to skip that. If you really want to read it, you can. In terms of playoffs, we've already talked about that as well. One more thing about prizes I want to mention this season is that each player, this is new for this season, gets 500 MTG Arena gems per match win in division play. So even if you don't make the playoffs, let's say you go 1-6 or something in your division matches, you're still going to get 500 MTG Arena gems. And the reason that we decided to do this is because we know for this round robin structure, the incentives get kind of weird at the end, right? Because you're not paired against people with similar records than you. So if there's a 6-0 playing against an 0-6, there's not really a lot of incentive for that match to happen. So we wanted to give people an incentive to play out their matches and to not drop. Because dropping really harms the integrity of the tournament, especially in a round robin. If you really, 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 really need to drop, which again, please don't drop, please contact me and we'll try to find a way to get your matches scheduled out earlier so you still play out all your matches, but maybe not over the course of 7 weeks. Maybe we shrink it into 5 or 6. But we really want players to stick through the end of it, play all 7 matches of the Swiss, even if you're nowhere close to playoff eligibility, because it really helps make the tournament robust. And we have more information here about what to do in case you want to drop out. The last thing I want to talk about is changes to these rules. Every season that we've done this so far, we've found places where the rules might be a little unclear or, cases we hadn't thought of that we need to be addressed in these rules. So these rules, consider them a living document. They may change, but we will, definitely keep everybody informed if these rules change, either in the Discord and we'll, obviously update the rules on this website here. That's pretty much all I've got for today. I know everybody else on the VML leadership will be talking about other things, talking about our brand new website, which looks amazing, talking about our mentorship program. So a lot of great things coming from the VML this season. Like I said, if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me on Discord, MaxPlaysMTG number 1439. and I will do my best to assist in a timely manner. Other than that, wishing you all the luck in VML Season 6, and yeah, that's me signing off.
Wow, Max. Doesn't Max already know I talked about the gems?
I know. It was shocking. It may or may not be.
embarrassing.
He may or may not have recorded that video like 24 hours before you did yours.
There's
But that's
no
fine.
way. There's no way of knowing that information. So I wanted to jump in on something. Max talked about recording matches and taking screenshots and stuff, and it reminded me that one of the things that hasn't been covered but is kind of cool is that we do a weekly stream on Fridays, and so we actually pick usually about 4 feature matches a week, and so it's not required that everybody records their games, but what we do require is if coverage team reaches out to you, usually on a Monday, that you communicate with them and either agree or disagree. If you don't want to record your matches, that's fine. And then just let them know. And then if you do agree, please do it. And then also submit. There is a bunch of information about this in the channel that's called, I think it's just called Match Recordings Info. That's not a postable channel anymore, excuse me. But it is just full of information from Phoebe and a link and all that stuff. So that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, I will just reiterate what Caroline says. Someone from the production crew will be reaching out, usually Monday, if not Tuesday, to ask that if you can be featured and if you can record your match. Usually what they'll say is, can you play your match before Thursday? Because that's the cutoff for being able to get the videos ready for the Friday broadcast. If the answer is no, and you're going to play your match on the weekend, please respond to them as soon as you practically can and say no, because they'll have to pick a different feature match and contact a different pair of people. And there's a lot of administration that goes behind every week's feature matches that I think a lot of people don't see, but it would really help us a lot if you could respond promptly to production crew reaching out and saying with a feature match request. They will also ask you a couple of questions, usually 3 questions, about the deck you're playing, or you know how you're approaching the matchup, or whatever it is. That's information that goes on the slides, which become part of the assets for the broadcast each week. So again, because those assets need to be created by production, and we're all people with full-time jobs, etc., the earlier you can get those questions answered, the better. We're not asking for essays on those questions. Like 1 or 2 sentences to respond to each one is perfect. The Friday broadcast comes out at this time, 6 p.m. Pacific, on twitch.tv/VMLMTG, the new Twitch URL. But if you're following the old Aspirant one, don't worry, because we just rebranded the Aspirant CCG, so you don't have to follow a new channel. And yeah, obviously we hope that many of you can come join us, even if you're not being featured, to support Team Werewolf or Team Vampire, whichever one you've been randomly assigned, and you cannot complain whichever one you've been assigned, Julie. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, Julie, that's what I'm saying. You can wait. I knew this would happen. I was like, we can't let people pick because it would just lead to imbalanced numbers. So we're just randomly going to assign Vampire or Werewolf, and I'm down for Innistrad Unity as well, but your scores will go towards Team Vampire or Team Werewolf, regardless of depending on which one you were assigned. Okay, so I think that is it in terms of the content that we were going to present. I'm going to loop back round now to questions that were asked in the chat. So first of all, Aura, I believe you asked about Saturday versus Sunday. So basically, the week ends on Sunday at noon. So on Sunday at noon, that is the last time for you to submit your match result. But what we have is a a function called the default match time. So this is if for some reason you and your opponent haven't been able to agree a match time. Maybe it's just taken, maybe someone hasn't been very responsive, or you've just not been able to find a time that works for you. The default time that you'll play is Saturday at noon Pacific. It's only if you haven't agreed a time for the week. So usually we would not expect people to use that default time a lot, but it's there as in that's the default time you'll play unless you agree otherwise. If you don't agree a time before Saturday at noon, the assumption is you're playing Saturday at noon, and then the forfeit will apply from Saturday at noon if in accordance with the rules. So that's the Saturday versus Sunday thing about the end of the week and when you have to play a match. There was a great question from Lena about whether you're allowed to look at the rules during a match of Magic. I actually don't know the answer to that. So Lena asked, if there's a rules question in the middle of a match, what should you do? Are you allowed to look it up online? I'm shocked that this hasn't come up before today, but I'm gonna put that question on hold because that's a question for Max and he isn't here. So we will loop back around, Lena, and I'll get Max to answer that question if that's all right, because I don't want to stick my head out and say one thing or another, because obviously A, I'm not a judge, and B, I'm playing in the tournament, so I'm not here to make a rules decision. The Luther asked, where will the video recording for the meeting be posted? If you are watching the video recording for the meeting, hello, good, congratulations, you found it. We are on YouTube on the VML MTG YouTube, which may or may not still be called Aspirant CCG YouTube at the time of you watching this video. And I think that is all the questions so far. If there are any questions, please post them in the chat right now. If I yell judge but no one is around to hear it, did you make a noise? I am not a philosopher. Hashtag not a philosopher. So I am gonna say yes. I'm not gonna think about it too hard. The answer is yes. Okay. Let me just go back through and just double check that I've answered all of the questions. If there are questions, as you go through, as you start using the website in particular, if you have any bugs or anything with the website, please contact Ryan, who is the website admin. If you have any issues with tournament organization, etc., you can come to any one of us. Production, especially, you can come to any one of us. If it's a rules or a dispute question, Max is the right person to speak to. Yeah, so deck trackers, okay, Miranda says deck trackers and hypergeometric calculators will be good to add to the Googling rules question. Deck trackers are covered on the VML rules. We allow deck trackers because there's literally no way to police whether people are using deck trackers or not. So we allow deck trackers being used. What type of ladder system is being used? Okay, so let me just share my screen. Because it'll probably be easiest to do this way. So I'm on the rules page. Literally everything we're talking about can be found on the rules page. Maz, I'm assuming your question is related to basically tiebreakers, how we figure out the standings. Where are we? Okay, so in your division, so in your division, you will play round robin. You're going to play every other player in your division. Every week, the standings of each player in the division will be updated. The first tiebreaker is record. So obviously, if you're 2-0, that's going to put you ahead of people who are 1-1, and those people are going to be ahead of people who are 0-2. The next tiebreaker is head-to-head result. So say that it's week 4, and currently there are 3 people at 3-0 in the division. If one of them has beaten, that can't happen. Okay, point is, say it's the end of the season and there are 2 6-1s in the division. If whoever won in their match is the top of the division. So head-to-head result is the second tiebreaker in the division play. The third tiebreaker is game win percentage. This is a change from previous seasons. Previous seasons, we used to have the third tiebreaker as number of game wins, but we've changed it to game win percentage, as in your own game win percentage. Unlike other tournaments in Magic, we don't use opponent match win because it's round robin, so opponent match win is the same for everybody. So because of that, we are using your personal game win percentage as the third tiebreaker in division play. When we get to playoffs, as in to determine the seeding in the playoffs, basically there's 2 scenarios that can come up. Either tiebreakers are used to determine whether you get into the playoffs, or the tiebreakers are used to determine seeding during the playoffs. In the case that tiebreakers are used to determine seeding, if you're exactly tied after matches won, after head-to-head, and after game win percentage, it will be a coin flip to determine who's a higher standing. In the case where tiebreakers are used to determine if players qualify for the playoffs, so in that last wildcard slot is when this comes up, and this has come up before. If 2 people are tied in matches won, head-to-head, and game win percentage for the 24th seed slot in getting into the playoffs, that's going to be a playoff match. It has come up maybe twice in the history of the VML, and we will arrange that as things go. In the case of a 3-way tie, like a triangle tie, where player A has beaten player B has beaten player C, and player C has beaten player A, we remove head-to-head from consideration. Okay. So, are there any questions about that? I think if you read this carefully, I think it does explain it fully. This has gone through many iterations and is pretty similar to the tiebreakers that we've been using for the past few seasons. In the playoffs themselves, it's going to be single elimination, so tiebreakers don't come up. We also do not allow intentional draws throughout any of the VML. Okay, I'm just going to give everyone a couple of minutes in case there are any follow-up seasons. You're surprised vampires over werewolves is not a tiebreaker? I think that would be going a little bit far. The vampires versus werewolves thing is mostly for pride, but we'll be doing some cool stuff on the broadcast to reflect who's winning between vampires and werewolves every week. No 64-way ID right now, correct, Miranda? We can't split the invite 64 ways, unfortunately. When do we find out what team we're on? So if you if you go to VMLMTG.com and you go to season 6, when you look at these other divisions, if you look at the standings, you can now see that everybody has a werewolf or a vampire symbol next to their name. So that is how you find out what team you're on. What would happen if the match ends in a draw on Arena? Looter, you should be using tournament mode challenge match, so it should not end in a draw on Arena. If it does, please speak to Max immediately. Please speak to Max. Basically, any question that's too difficult for me to answer, I'm like, please speak to Max. But seriously, if anything ever comes up, your first port of call for that kind of question should always be Max. I don't know, Julie, if there is a draw option on the match submission. I will. We'll see when the weeks happen. I think we wanted there to not be a draw option, so that if you wanted to submit a draw, you had to specifically talk to a judge, because we're not allowing intentional draws. Luta, since that question is crossed out, I'm going to ignore it. So, okay, I think that is everything, unless there are any more questions. Okay, one more question. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay, that's a good question, actually. So basically, when you go into when you log in, I don't want to log in just in case it shows my thing. But when Caroline was showing you the page that after you've logged in, where it sees, where it shows you your personal schedule for every week, where you can submit your deck list. Once the week has been published, so once on Monday, once deck lists are published, your opponent's Discord ID will be copyable from that page. So we'll expect you to use Discord to contact your opponent. But you'll be able to get your opponent's Discord and Arena IDs once the week has been published from that page. The chat rooms that we've made for each division, they're viewable by everybody with the VML Season 6 role in the Discord. So you should be able to tag them in there, and it will exist. We will be updating all of those graphics that we showed for the divisions, because I know there are lots of non-preferred names in there. We will be updating that. We just wanted to get the division info out before, so that people can know what divisions they were in. It definitely wasn't because I really wanted to know what division I was in. And therefore everybody had to know at the same time. Okay, good. So if you do have any more questions, if anything else comes up, please ask it in the VML questions channel, which is in this section, in the general channels section. What Ryan says is very true. It is a good idea to set your Discord nickname to match your name, how it appears on the website. Obviously, we're not going to enforce that, but we would suggest that you do that for this server. And yeah, in terms of on the broadcast and generally on the website, we'll always use your preferred name as submitted on the player survey. And I'm sure everybody here has submitted their player survey, but if you haven't submitted the player survey, please submit your player survey. All right. Okay. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Good luck in your matches for the season. Submit your deck list by Sunday evening, and if you have any issues, message one of us. All right. Meeting adjourned.